Large projects and thus also ideas for an event are often screened by the management committee. But how do you give a convincing presentation to the top management of your company? Sylvie Verley is presentation coach, and today she gives practical tips on how to survive the management team. Hi Sylvie, welcome to our studio.
Hi Kevin.
A lot of projects and events need to pass the management committee to get approved. That's a lot of stress for a lot of people. How do you start with it?
Often the problem when you have to present to a board of directors is the timing. Because up front, they give you a timing of like 20 minutes, sometimes even half an hour to get your message across. And when you are there to do your presentation, they ask you, can you just go to your last slide and present that? Because there are the conclusions. That's really a question that some of the participants that I had, she had that question and it didn't work for her. So you just have to be prepared that you have to get your message across in only 5 minutes.
How do you do that?
Well, the problem is, how do you structure your presentation? Because now we tend to structure a presentation because that's what we think we should do, using an agenda. That's slide number 2. And then we have like 5 to 7 bullet points. These are the topics that I will talk about, to explain them and to end with the conclusions. You're in trouble when you do it like that, because if that's what you aim to do for 20 minutes, and then you have to do that in 5 minutes, I see people rushing through the slides, skipping some slides, it doesn't work. So you need another structure. And what I advise people to use is actually a known structure. It's the Minto principle. It is the pyramid structure.
And how does that work?
Well, the main difference between an agenda and the pyramids is that, well, first of all, you limit your pyramids, like ideally 3. 3 is a magical number. And especially what you put on top of the pyramids, it's not about topics, it is your key messages. So your first question when you prepare a presentation is, what is my objective? What is my end goal with this presentation, and how will I reach that goal? So if you want to, let's say the typical presentation, the company presentation, you should not talk about how good you are, how great you are, how international you are. It's not talking about we. It's thinking of how can we solve a problem for them. So it's the Wi-Fi, what's in it for you? It is the you that is important. So what you put on top of the pyramids, what can you give
and that's
to them?
where you start with, and then you can go in depth if there are more questions, for example.
Yeah, so you build your 5 minutes and you build your pyramids like kind of closets. 3 pyramids are 3 closets, starting with your main point, the main thing that you want to get across, and then you have like drawers that you can open. And if you prepare that actually for 20 minutes, you can open like 5 drawers. But if you only have 5 minutes to get your message across, you have to keep some drawers closed. And you only open 2 drawers. And that's the way that it works extremely well, because it's a really flexible structure that way.
From my own experience with presentations for management teams, I noticed that it's more about the questions that come up rather than the presentation itself.
That's right, because these people, they want to ask their questions. Very often up front, they ask you to send the slides. And not all of them, but some people actually have looked at these slides. Especially the CEO tends to do that, and they know exactly up front what their questions are. So they don't want to wait for your 20-minute presentation. They want to ask their questions. So if you announce in the beginning, just give me 5 minutes to get my message across, and then I'd be happy to go into the details. What you have as a result is that you have a short 5-minute monologue, and then you have a longer discussion, really giving them exactly what they want.
Okay. Now, we touched the subject of slides, but if you have to give a presentation and you prepare it for 5 minutes, and then you have all the sub-details, but how do you structure that in a presentation?
Well, nowadays, I see that our PowerPoints are actually PowerPoint reports. It's a kind of a handout. And I think within 10 years, we'll still do that, because that's like, we are used to do it like that. If they ask you upfront to send the slides, that's the document they're talking about. It is not the visual slides with pictures and I don't know what. It is your facts and figures. So that detailed report is needed. But the fact that it is detailed makes it very difficult for you to tell your story, because that's what it comes down to, your 5 minutes. It's telling your story. And they should listen to your story. You should have a connection with them. You need eye contact with them. And if they can read the slides, which they will do, it's difficult to connect with them. So I think it's a better idea to just use your slides, your detailed report as a kind of backup slides. So you make sure that this is ready and you press B. Do you know B in PowerPoint?
The blackout
That's
button.
it. Lots of people don't know that. Every
No,
speaker
right?
should know it. If you press B, you're in your slideshow, it is black. This means that you can do your story.
Yeah.
This is the naked style. I like the naked presenter style.
Yeah, but you have to dare that.
It's the problem is that you need a kind of an experience as a speaker, but if you get a hang of it, if you feel like it is so easy to connect with your audience, it's really fun to do that. It's a book by Gar Reynolds. It's my presentation guru, The Naked Presenter. So what he advises is, why not just tell your story, and then after your story you need a question to open up the discussion. And then you know that your backup slides are there. So when you get a question, you know that that's one of my slides. You go to your slide, just typing the slide number. That's another one that most speakers don't know. So that's a way to handle it. But of course, you can use slides during your story, but then you have to look at it like, how would I draw this on a flip chart?
Yeah, because a lot of people just use them as a reminder for what they need to say.
It's a projected cheat sheet.
Yeah.
And it's a pity, because then they have a connection with their flip chart, but not with the audience. Connecting with your audience, that's what it's all about. You can have a great story, you can have amazing slides, but if you fail to connect, it doesn't work. So that's rule number one. Come close to your audience and look at them. Really pouring a glass of wine. You know, when you compare it like that, lots of glasses are empty. Some people get just a drop of wine. Fill that glass of wine. Really connect with them.
Yeah.
It's like having a chat with friends. It's a bit the same.
That's a lot more fun than,
It
than
is.
doing a
Though
boring presentation.
if you notice how you do it with friends, if you just sit around a table and you tell a story, you know, you look at different friends telling your story, that's what it comes down to. So if you are very conscious of how you do it over there, just dividing your eye contact and just telling your story, that's how you do it. If you talk to a board as well, you have more nerves, of course. But the thing is, come close to them. You know, if we're having a chat, we're not going to sit far away. We're coming closer. We're connecting. That's what you should do.
Do the same over there.
But you need your story, of course, and you need to prepare that story. And preparing 5 minutes is less time-consuming than knowing you have to talk for 20 minutes.
That's true. And you are writing a book on this topic.
I've written my first book on presentations like 5 years ago. So I thought, like many people have to present to a board and there are lots of difficulties there. I felt like, okay, I feel ready to write a new book about it. So after the summertime, I'm going to write whole summer. And the idea is that after the summer, I have my new book, specifically for those people who have to present to a board of directors, how to do that.
I look forward to read it, Sylvie.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming over.
My pleasure.
And you at home, thank you for watching our show. I hope to see you next time.